Amidst all of the hoopla that took place during the Ring of Fire boxing card on Saturday, May 18th, Opetaia Outlasts Briedis to become a two-time Ibf Cruiserweight champion in a battle of two men who have driven one another to the brink. Let's talk about it. Rematches in boxing are often brought about due to something slighted after the first fight. There was once a time when the rematch took place because the first fight was so lit that public sentiment begged for it. Oftentimes, the fighters themselves begged for it because one bested the other. Nowadays, rematches take place for business reasons. Sometimes business related directly to the fighters, sometimes the promoters. Such is the case with Briedis facing Opetaia for a second time. These two men have changed the titles between them, the IBF and the Ring Magazine title. One thing you can guess for certain is that when the two of them face one another, you're going to see the best that the Cruiserweight division has to offer. Briedis has now his record dropped to 28-3 with 20 KOs, but Opetaia, who is now the IBF Cruiserweight champion for the second time, is 25-0 with 19 KOs, but not without some bumps along the way after having faced Briedis twice. The thing about Briedis is, ever since he lost to Alexander Usyk back in January of 2018, a majority decision loss for then the WBC and WBO World Cruiserweight Unified titles, he went on a tear, becoming a champion again, WBO Cruiserweight champion, and then later the IBF Cruiserweight champion, which he held up until he faced Opetaia in July of 2022. A hard-fought battle that saw the two men battering one another, Opetaia ending up with a broken jaw out of it, but prevailing with a unanimous decision over Briedis. He started out very strong in that fight, and then as the rounds went on, the strength of Briedis really began to take its toll on Jive. But in this rematch, we knew that the circumstances would be similar, but amazingly, we didn't realize how similar. The fight started out with Opetaia lightly bouncing on his toes, shooting his punches and firing from mid-range to outside, long distance. And then he began to work and prevail and pull ahead. This lead was not to remain, for the veteran and experienced Orthodox fighter from Latvia would turn things around. In the later quarter of the fight, Briedis began to come on just like he did in the first fight, and Opetaia was seemingly starting to drain. Drain not necessarily from lack of conditioning, but the pressure that Briedis was putting on him and how he was turning up the intensity with his power punching. The man is 39 years of age. Opetaia is 29. So there is a difference in the youth and the age. That being said, Opetaia is now the champ for the second time, and I do believe he is seeking to unify to become undisputed. Briedis is more than likely going to fade off into the sunset. There are still a number of fighters out there that he can defeat. In fact, some of the other titleists may want to steer clear of him. Opetaia has earned his stripes, and he's done it in the most thrilling of fashion. The other titleists are really not competition for him at this time. He is head and shoulders above everyone else, but his 2 battles with Ibf Briedis have taken their toll. So what I would like to see from Jai Opetaia next is for he to go and work on his boxing ability a little bit more, work on his defense a little bit more. He has proven to us that he has the inner strength. He has proven to us that he has the aggression and the willingness to get in the trenches and battle. As far as Briedis, he doesn't have to retire. I do believe, as I said before, there are champions out there that he can defeat still. The best fighters that he have fought have been Jai Opetaia and then previously Alexander Usyk. So there's really nothing for he to hang his head on. It's just that Father Time is catching up, and no one escapes the grasp of Father Time. As far as Jai Opetaia, I can see him becoming undisputed at Cruiserweight, but I don't see the other champions willingly getting in there with him. If there are more fights that can be made in Saudi, they'll probably take the chance. But just guys, simply when you think about it, they're not going to want to risk it all against someone who's a fierce and intense fighter such as he. But those are my thoughts on this great fight between these 2 men. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about Jai Opetaia and whether or not you would like to see him unified for undisputed. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.